All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for this practitioner webinar with our partners at Cloudbakers. My name is Sarah, and I'm on the Zoho CRM team. I'm here to give a brief introduction of our speaker, Sean Banta, and moderate the session. Please feel free to ask your questions at any point during today's presentation. You'll see a little chat box on your screen that you can ask your questions, and Sean and his colleague Ashley from Cloudbakers will answer all of those by the end of today. We will also be following up with everyone via email after the session, so we'll include some contact information for Sean, some more resources, and also a recording of today's presentation so you can view that again on your own time. Well, we're very excited to have Sean here with us today to talk about some interesting ways to expand the functionality of your CRM with Zoho Creator, which is an application building tool that allows you to create custom apps without the need for any advanced coding skills. Now, a little information about Cloudbakers. Sean and his team are based out of Chicago, and they are one of our top certified trusted Zoho partners and consultants. They work with many of our users to help them migrate their business to the cloud. They're experts on implementing a CRM system, email solution, file storage and sharing, and application development, among many other solutions. And Sean here is a manager of cloud enablement and business analyst. And today he'll be giving some tips for enabling your sales team with Zoho Creator. So we've got a great presentation for you today. So with that, I will go ahead and pass things over to Sean to get us started with the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. So just to get started, I'll give you a brief overview of Cloudbakers. We've been with Zoho for about 5 years. Seems like forever. I've been with them for about 4 years of it. So working with Zoho and the platform since I started, day one pretty much. We have a full team that does all of our Zoho development, all of our implementations, things like that. We specialize in enhancing Zoho CRM with custom development through Zoho Creator and many other means, just kind of to work with your business processes as particular as they might be. We specialize in large enterprise implementations, large to small enterprise implementations. And today we have a fun demo. One of our clients actually reached out and requested that we had some kind of routing application built into the CRM. So we thought, hey, it'd be kind of a cool demo just to show how to use routing in a sales scenario. So that's what we'll be running through a little bit throughout the demo today. So I put together a brief presentation just to give you an idea of why this might be important or why this might be needed. So to start, what we'll do is we'll walk through a little bit of the life of a salesman. As many of you may know, sales reps have a tendency to be known to do a lot of partying. They're out a lot, having a lot of fun, a lot of golf, tons of golf. I wish I could do this as often as they do, and more partying for the most part. But in real life, a lot of times, sales reps are not out there doing what you might have seen, or what the stereotype might be. A lot of times, they are chasing numbers. They are trying to find more growth for a company. They're trying to find more prospects, build a pipeline. And it's not always easy, and they're not always given the right tools that they need to succeed. And that, a lot of times, is the problem to why they cannot grow as fast as they need to. So on top of that, many of them have managers that are a little bit overbearing. They're always watching over you. When you do hit that quota, next year they're just going to increase it by 50%, so you have to get even more numbers. So at the end of the day, you could end up just doing a ton of data entry. It almost feels like we're not even selling anymore. Now with technology, you might not always be going on site as much. You might be doing a lot more emailing. You're in a CRM. You're entering all of this information, your notes, etc., just so you can show what it is that you do on a daily basis. So what we specialize in, or what we love to preach, is not working harder, but working smarter, making yourself more efficient in many different ways possible, and you'll see how we can do that just one step at a time. So this is something that I run into very often when I hop on demos and presentations for a lot of VPs or sales reps, things like that. They're just too busy to actually work on their processes or work on just like one small problem. So they're too busy pulling a wagon with a square wheel when you could just put circle ones on there and use half the effort and do twice as much. So the whole point of today in general is to work on getting your entire business to work together and getting your entire business to work efficiently. Nowadays, CRM might not be as much of a differentiator, but it's becoming more of a norm, like email was a long time ago, or text messaging, things like that. So getting everyone first onto a CRM is the first step. Then you're going to want to say, now what? We want to be as fast as we can. We want to, on a daily basis, spend less time doing data entry, less time managing your pipeline, and more time doing what adds value to your business. So at the end of the day, you end up growing your numbers, you hit your quotas, you find business growth. So once you do get a CRM, what's next? And that is a lot of times where we come in if we aren't already involved in building the CRM in the first place. Zoho CRM, as many of you may know or don't know, it has a ton of automation features in it. You can move data from one place to the other without having to touch it. When you close a deal, you can automatically mark someone as a customer and send all their contacts into your Gmail. Right, so you don't have to tell your deployment team, hey, here's this person's email, here's this person's email, and they have to type it in. There's tons of other ways that you can automate just directly within the CRM. But what do you do after that? So what we're going to go through today is Zoho Creator and how it works with the CRM to build customized apps for your business. Everyone has their own special sauce within their business. Everyone has a way that they work that makes them different from everybody else. And that's necessary nowadays in any business, any enterprise. You need to differentiate yourself. You need to make sure that you are the best and your customers know that. So what Creator is, just a brief overview, is it is a way to drag and drop, for the most part, building new forms to take information in so that you can manipulate it and get it into the exact form that you need to send information to the rest of your team. So if you have a customer that is looking for a specific object, you can go into the CRM, you can say, okay, I want to fill out a pricing form for this object. If that's not available directly in the CRM, you can send information over to Zoho Creator, and Zoho Creator can actually take information instead of that paper form that you're filling out on a daily basis, and they can automatically populate that with all of your CRM information, your address, your name, all of those things that you fill in when you go to the doctor every time. It's the same repetitive information about the business. So why waste time doing data entry on those different pieces? So then you can print it out in a specific form that you might hand to your development team. Instead, you can get it in an email, send it to them, they can have a link, and they can just look at it on their computers. Saving trees at the same time, you're saving yourself time. So Zoho Creator is perfect for extending the CRM because it has all these built-in integrations. It has these built-in libraries where you can grab information from the CRM, populate different fields within your Creator app, and then export it as needed or send it in an email as needed without too many actions. So what I want to do is kind of walk through today's demo a little bit. There's a couple of pieces you should know about. We did do a little bit of development just to show you what Creator is capable of. However, a lot of things in Creator you can do very easily once you know your way around the landscape. All of this actually pulls in Zoho CRM, which is where we're going to start the demo. It pulls in Zoho Creator, which is where we pass information from the CRM so that we can get different companies' addresses and things like that. And then we use an API called Routific. Now, Routific they're fairly new on the market, but what they do is we send them specific location information, and Routific says the best way to get to all of those points in a given time frame. So at its heart, it's a routing application for logistics, anything like that. For today's scenario, what we're going to do is we're going to act as a sales rep, and this sales rep has to go to multiple different locations. And what we're going to show you is that if they wanted to go to all these locations, you could go to the north side of Chicago, then all the way to the south side of Chicago, then back to the north side, back to the southwest side. And you're making a very inefficient route for your entire day. But what if you had an application that you did not have to enter all of the coordinates of the places you were going? It figured them out for you, and it actually gave you the most efficient route to get there. Save you gas, save you time, so that when you wake up in the morning, you get to the office, you start visiting all of these places. It might have taken you 8 to 10 hours. Instead, you can be done and make it to the Cubs game by 1. So that's what I want to show you today. Sounds far-fetched, but it is awesome how we put this together. So I want to see how it's done. I'm going to skip over to the CRM, and where we're going to start is on a list of our accounts. Granted, for most of you, you probably have 1,000 accounts, 50,000 for some individuals, but each of these accounts that I'm showing on the screen is within Zoho CRM. Notice that if I click on any of these accounts, you can see that they have a bunch of information filled out. They also have their address information, and that's probably the most important piece. So if we are a sales rep in the laundry industry or the linen industry where we're selling items to the hospitality industry for hotels, bedding, pillows, things like that. You're going to want to visit all of your different accounts and make sure that they have what they need. And like I said, we want to make sure we do that in the most efficient way possible. So what I have here are a list of hotels in Chicago, all of which I recommend going to. They're all great places to stay, great service, everything. And what you can do is I'll take you into Chicago Marriott at Medical District down by UIC. And what we'll do is we actually added a custom button onto the CRM. What this button is going to do is it's going to say, hey, we want to go to Chicago Marriott today. You get into the office at 9 o'clock in the morning, you pick all the accounts you want to see, and then you go to them. So for Chicago Marriott at Medical District, UIC, I want to add this to today's route. So what this is doing is it's adding it to my routing application. We'll go into that in a minute. So added to today's route. Now let's go back. Let's say I didn't want to go into each one of these and add it to a route. So Zoho CRM actually allows you to add more custom buttons on this specific view. If I hover over Chicago Marriott Midway, I can add to today's route. Let's say we want to also go out to O'Hare, and we're going to go downtown. You can see it's working here. And I'm just going to pick a couple more. We're going to go to the Marriott. Beautiful hotel, also downtown. Down by McCormick Place. I'm sure many of you have been to events down there. They have a ton, awesome car show every year. And we're going to go to the Hyatt Regency, Chicago. why not just go to all of them? If we're going to make it efficient, we can hit more than we would on a normal daily basis. By the way, on the top of the Trump, I was looking at this about 4 years ago. It is an amazing apartment, went for about $31 million. Interesting side note. So now that we have picked our route for today, what we're going to do is we need to tell it where we're going to start, and we need to tell it where we're going to end. And maybe we might pick somewhere in there in the middle for lunch. So if we go over to our application, which you can get to in a bunch of different ways, it's just a link. We can say, I want to go to all my today's routes. And if you look, it's already picked all of the routes that I selected. These were all added as stops on our route. So what we're going to do is I don't have a starting location and I don't have an ending location. So we're going to figure out that first. So again, this is Zoho Creator. Everything that was added from the CRM was then sent to Zoho Creator, all of these different accounts that I have here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit. And since I use this application on a daily basis, I have some saved locations. You could enter in street and city information, and you can start from there if you want to start from your house, if you want to start from your mansion, either way. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, yes, I want to start from one of my locations. And I want to start from Cloudbakers on 641 West Lake Street. Come visit us, especially on Friday around 4 or 5 o'clock. We have all of our account route stops. You can see all of these have had their information entered automatically. And we can add any custom routes. First, what we're going to do is I'm going to add my ending location. So my ending location is going to be, like I said earlier, since we're being efficient, I'm going to make it to the Cubs game by about 1 o'clock. They're doing great this year. Everybody should check them out. But I'm going to need to eat lunch. So I want to throw lunch in there at some point in time. Great place to eat lunch in Chicago is Portillo's. So we're actually going to get the address for that quick. Portillo's and Varnelli's Pasta Bowl. So we're going to 100 Ontario Street. In Chicago. Illinois. And the zip code 60654. What I want to point out here is we get all of these different locations through an API. They don't just come in automatically. So we did some custom coding that actually sends this address out to the Google Maps API. And the Google Maps API actually returns the latitude and longitude that we need to run the Routific integration. So just another piece of the puzzle here as we put together our application. So in this case, we already have our ending location, and it's going to be Wrigley Field. Again, making it to that Cubs game before the end of the day today. So we're going to update. And now we've got our route planned. Well, almost. We have the places we're going to go planned. But now what we want to do is we want to make it efficient so we can get there in the fastest way possible. So we've added in a button. What this button is going to do is it's going to go out to the Routific API, which is, again, that routing application that's going to order all of these in the directions we need to go. And then it's going to talk to Google and tell us the exact routes we need to take to these places. So we're going to go map best route, and it's going to pop us up on a map of all of the different locations that we entered into the application, and it's going to be in order of the way that we're going to visit them. Right now, it looks kind of like a mess just because we're heading all around Chicago here. But if you look, let's scroll in. You can see first 641 West Lake, hanging out at Cloudbakers. Start the morning there. We're going to head over to the Hyatt Regency, up to the Trump Tower, go grab some lunch at Portillo's, head downtown to the JW Marriott. I forget which hotel this is, and we're going to continue down to the McCormick Place Hotel, the Hyatt down there, and then we're going to head out to Midway, finish up by heading up to O'Hare, and then finally back to Wrigley, where we're going to go to the Cubs game. I did not actually look if there was one today, but that would be awesome. So what we can do now is you have the directions. You have the order, the best route that you need to go to all of these different places. So what we can do is we're actually going to click more options on the map. Again, that was more options. And it's going to kick us out to Google Maps, where we can actually get the actual directions for this. And we can send them to our phone so we can go to all of these different places. So what we can do now is we can say, all right, we're going to go to these places. It's going to take about 1 hour and 45 minutes. In that 1 hour and 45 minutes, we might stop at each of these places for 15 minutes, minus Portillo's, since that's lunch, it might take 5. So if you think about it, if you spend 15 minutes at all of these locations and you spend all this time driving, it's 35.5 miles, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to spend 3 hours and 45 minutes, would be about 2 hours added on because of the stops, 3 hours and 45 minutes, and then you're back at the Cubs game. So if you start at 9 o'clock in the morning, you're out there just before the game starts at 1. And that is just one way to make your teams more efficient using Zoho Creator. So I have a few more slides just to add on to that, just to show you can do this in a lot of different ways. The most important piece is that you start breaking down your inefficiencies as a business and you start adding on little bits and pieces to the platform that you've already built. So if you've already got CRM, let's add on to it, let's make it more efficient, and let's see how we can help your business grow a little bit faster without adding individuals, more or less just making the individuals that you have more efficient, and make sure that they're spending more time adding value to the business rather than spending more time entering data. Like you saw Jim Carrey just hacking away at the computer in the beginning there. And at the end of the day, your real life sales individuals will now be partying, golfing, and partying even more, I'm sure, going to baseball games, etc. And that's it as far as the demo goes. So took about a half hour, left a ton of time in there for questions. So feel free to kind of pull out, ask more. We do this on a daily basis. We build applications not only with routing APIs, we build based on paper forms, oftentimes where people want to get rid of paper in the office. They're passing purple sheets of paper from one place to the next, one department to the next, with the exact same information on it as before. So with that, I'll kind of open it up for questions if anyone wants to ask any.
Sean,
And I believe,
one question.
yeah, go ahead.
Which of the additions of Creator would you need to do this particular routing feature?
So for this one, you can do some basic routing features on the. If you only have a couple users, it's the I believe it's the initial plan. I forget what it's called, but it's not the enterprise. You can do it on the most basic version of Creator. It gives you the webhooks and everything you need to call that Routific API. So you don't need the biggest and baddest Creator license, but if you're going to do some more advanced features outside of this, or you want more capability to kind of segregate things down with security and things like that, that's when you want to move up to that enterprise edition of Creator. So you can get started for a very basic edition. I have one question in here from Jim Tate. How do you set it up? You just go to creator.zoho.com, and that'll set up your initial license with Zoho Creator. And then it's just a matter of picking your application, draw it out for yourself. I would, before I get started with anything, whiteboard it, make sure you have all the functionality and the process down, and then just start building your application, drag and drop.
Yeah, and in the follow-up email that we send out, I'll go ahead and send out that link that Sean just mentioned, the creator.zoho.com, and we'll provide a couple other resources for everyone if you're interested in getting started with this.
And just a note too, for this integration, we actually have a partner edition of Routific. It is a paid application to use their API, so you might need to pay a little bit more to actually do the routing. What do you charge for making this feature to a customer? So typically, they're all over the board. So some of these features take us only a very small amount of time and are at a very low cost. Some of them are extensive applications that could get upwards of, let's say, like 20, 30K. Most of the free, depending again on the complexity of the application. Does it have GPS features? Right now, Zoho Creator does not support that. However, there are tons of APIs that do, and we can pull in other applications that have GPS into Zoho Creator. Again, that's just another way that Zoho Creator can extend itself to other applications just as much as Zoho CRM can extend to Zoho Creator. Same kind of fashion, it's just pulling in another tool into your tool belt there. Great question, though. I had another question. A lot of people ask, what are the limitations? The limitations of Zoho Creator can be kind of endless. Like, you're always going to run into something where it might be a little bit too large of an application to put into Zoho Creator. For the most part, you're not going to hit that, but it depends on how much information you're storing and how much what the actual features are. For the most part, you'll be all right, though. One question, do you have slide examples of what the drag and drop looks like so we can see exactly how easy it would be to create an application? Yeah, definitely. So Zoho Creator, if you search it on YouTube, they have a ton of videos just on how to do that in general. And I think Cloudbakers has one out there as well, just on how to do like some of the drag and drop coding and things like that. And if we have some time, I can always go into it at the end just to show you how to drag and drop a field. It's really easy to do. I had a question, will that be spelled out with the information sent after the webinar, the GPS? Probably not, because that is another custom piece that you'd add on. Those are a little bit more difficult of integrations, and if you're not a strong coding background, you may want to consult with someone to actually implement that GPS piece, because they can be rather complicated there. But I can definitely throw a link to where that information is held if you want to read into it, though. Any other questions?
All right. Well, I think it covered everything. I don't know, Sean, any more questions on y'all's end?
Not really. I do have a couple examples of what we've done otherwise, though, for different clients. I'll just kind of name them off. I'm sure many of you, your heads are spinning. You've got a ton of ideas to go out and use Zoho Creator with the CRM right now. But here's just a couple that we've implemented in the past that might get the gears spinning as well. One of them is e-sign integration. For industries like real estate, they have a ton of forms to fill out. As you know, with buying a house, you fill out 500 different forms with the same information: your name, your number, your social security number. Right? We have a way where we can just place all of that information on a sheet, and you just go into DocuSign and you sign the dotted line, just making things easier for you. Pre-fill online forms. So if all of your information of an individual is in your database, we can actually pre-fill an online form with Zoho Creator. So when someone clicks on your website and you say, I want to sign up for something, it'll pre-fill their name, their company, all of their address information so they don't have to. Another one which helps a lot is those buttons within the CRM. So we build a lot of those custom buttons that you saw that added the route to Zoho Creator so that we could put that in our daily plan. We build a lot of buttons like that to kind of avoid different distractions. You can be in one place in the CRM, click a button, and add it to another system that you might have. We've done HubSpot in the past. We've done Reptific, obviously, and tons of other applications, QuickBooks. And then the last is ordering applications. So we've done a couple of applications to extend the CRM for ordering like let's say you wanted to order a service, or a client wanted to order a service to their location. We've actually built applications that can order a service to their location. They just go on, they click a button, auto loads all of their address information. They click a button, has all of their credit card information. That's integrations we've done with some different payment systems. The customer pays, and the service is delivered to their location. Those are just a couple examples. But anyways, there wasn't really a question, but figured I'd give a few more just to get the gears spinning.
Awesome, yeah, and just a note here for people new to Zoho Creator, we have designed it with the idea in mind that really anyone can create custom apps. You don't need to know a lot of coding to do, some basic expanded functionality for your CRM. But as Sean mentioned, some of them may require a little bit more coding knowledge, and that's why we really try to encourage people to get in touch with some of our partners, Cloudbakers, for example. So you have that other resource in addition to Zoho support to kind of give you some more guidance on how you can use Creator. And I think today was a really good example of that. So, all right. Well, Sean, thank you so much for being here with us today. That was a great presentation, a good trip through Chicago as well. We always appreciate your time and you being here for that. And thank you for everyone for attending. We can stick around for a couple more minutes if there's any other questions that come in. Otherwise, hope everyone has a great day. Look out for that follow-up email from us as well. And we hope to see you in the next webinar. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you, Sarah. Hey, Rochelle, I'm not sure if you got the answer or not, but yes, they will transfer to the mobile applications also.